Hello, welcome to today's show. I'm Jacqueline Stockwell, CEO and founder at Leadership Through Data. I inspire and motivate information leaders across the world.
Yes, hi Jackie. My name's Aakash Suri, and I work as a privacy specialist for a global mobility company specializing in vehicle leasing. Yeah, I've been in the data protection world for the last 3 years, and it's been the best time of my career. Absolutely found my niche, and I absolutely love it, love it. And I'm really excited to be on this podcast with you to have a delve deeper into privacy topics and add value for the listeners out there. So thank you.
Amazing. You're absolutely, I'm really super excited. And it was just really interesting. We were just talking about before we come on to the show
Yeah,
about kind of personal branding. And
yeah,
I'm just going to ask you a few questions about that just at the start, because
yeah,
you
sure.
describe yourself as a privacy specialist, right? So
Yeah.
what does that actually mean to you in terms of you as a personal and your personal brand?
So for me, a privacy specialist is first and foremost, it's basically a job title. For me, goes back to the history of data protection and protecting the fundamental human right of people's information. So for me, I'm in this because I want to protect people's fundamental rights and empower them to be able to exercise them. So to me, that's the core of it all and why I'm actually doing what I'm doing. So, and that leads to my personal brand in terms of what I'm doing. I talk and breathe. And if you look at all my posts, you'll see in my everyday life, there is some link to data protection, privacy, and I try and add value and share my experiences with people. So, that's all about me and the, rooted reasons why I'm in this field. But I'm sure we'll talk about later how I pivoted into it, etc. But yeah, that's in a nutshell me as a person and why I'm working in privacy and data protection.
I love that. So you're in privacy and data protection, but you're also very active on LinkedIn,
Yes,
sharing the important messages of
absolutely.
data protection and privacy. And I think that there are some very, very key people of influence within privacy and data protection doing the same thing. But I do think there's an absolute gap in terms of records managers, information managers
Yeah.
that kind of not in that space yet. So I think there's something that we can work together. So you talked about your story. So how did you get into data protection?
So prior to my entry into this world, I used to work in the finance world, so accounting. So I did that for about 6 years, and it's all about spreadsheets and balance sheet reconciliations and projections and things of that nature. And I was just like, this is not me. This is not me. I don't have enough human touch, human interaction. I don't feel like I'm adding values in one of my previous finance roles in the company that I currently work for, there was an initiative. So this company I work for, really big on initiatives, so they run lots of them. So one of them was a initiative called Risk Champion. I thought, oh, that's interesting. I actually got volunteered for it by the director of finance, and I was like, okay, what's this in my inbox? So I took it as a compliment, thought, he'll be good at this, let's go ahead and do it. So I always keep an open mindset. So went into it, and basically what it was is raising awareness of risk and compliance through the business in different facets. So the facet that I was involved in was operational risk and getting the business together into kind of collaborating and report these incidents, make them understand them, getting key stakeholders together and kind of working through these incidents that take place and looking at root causes and putting in mitigating controls, exactly what we do in privacy, right? So all of that's how I got a taste of it, and literally I really excelled at that role and I embedded it into my BAU. Now, we do look like a jargon nowadays, so BAU means business as usual. So I embedded it into my current finance role and I got recognized for it, and that was the basically the leapfrog that I made from being in a finance role to a data protection specialist. So two new roles came out. One was a compliance specialist, one was a privacy specialist, and I was like, I want to get involved in this. I delved deeper into the compliance side by speaking to the head of this, the stakeholders, the right stakeholders for privacy and compliance, and straight away something drew me to privacy. Because I used to think privacy is just compliance. It's just compliance. It's a tick box. It's something we've got to do. But there's a deeper meaning behind it. And as I delved deeper and started looking at the history and how it's all there, why is it there, I started to understand that actually it resonates with me and this is what I actually want to do. And I want to help people have that shift, that where I was to where I am now. So yeah, I went for that role, and that was 3.5 years ago nearly, and successful, and I've had the best time of my career. I've had the best wins, best successes, and I'm sure we're going to talk about the training element, etc. But yeah, that's how it was for me, and I had absolutely no experience, Jackie. You know, it's about embracing the unknown, and you never know what's going to happen from it.
Yeah, agreed. And it's about having a growth mindset as well. So
Yeah,
if you have an interest
absolutely.
in something and you kind of, as you said, you dipped your toe in the water first,
Yes.
and then it's that kind of thing. Well, I quite like this. I kind of want to move on as well. So yeah, I love that, and I love that how passionate you are about it and bringing privacy to life. Can you share a personal story or a specific moment that really got your passion for privacy, for being real and not kind of robotic or a tick box exercise?
Yeah, do you know what? It's a really interesting question because what I used to get, and it's a really simple thing. So I'm a very easy peasy, simple, plain English guy. That's what separates me from the other privacy pros. So what I do is I don't regurgitate legalese. I speak in plain English, and then, for example, I'll give the board of directors 3 smart, pragmatic steps to demonstrate compliance. Literally, that's the winning formula, right? They want you to cut through the jargon and tell them, right, okay, what's the issue? What do you recommend? How are we going to do it? And my job is to inform them of that. So even for the purpose of this conversation, something as simple as me getting bombarded by marketing emails, right? I can't unsubscribe from them. And, it still happens till today, but not as much because I've got a grip on it and I've got more of an understanding. But, for me, I was getting bombarded by these things. And, my wife says to me sometimes, so we're sitting there watching TV that other day, and she says, oh, we need to get a new air fryer. And I was like, okay, yeah, all right, we've already got one. But anyway, you can have a look. She starts having a look on Google, and then she goes, oh, it's appearing all over my social media. And I said to her, yeah, it's online behavioral advertising, right? So people are watching what you're doing, and then it replicates on all platforms that you're looking for an air fryer, and they're going to try and put it in front of your face so you get it. And that worked, and she did end up buying a more expensive one, which cost me a lot of money. Which,
But you've
for
now got
me,
2 air fryers, so
yeah, no, I gave the other one to my sister, so she was quite grateful for it. But it was just something as small as, you know, not being bombarded with marketing emails and things like that. I mean, other examples could include, sensitive medical records. One of my cousins had this medical records exposed in error by the NHS. So these sort of kind of things really touched me to the core, and I was like, hang on, there needs to be more done here where we are, almost campaigning for privacy rights for everybody,
yeah, great.
So yeah, these are the kind of things that kind of connected me with it originally and through the course of my career in privacy.
Yeah, great. So outside of work, what hobbies or interests do you have that might surprise people or listeners?
Wow, that's a really good question. So I'll share a couple if you don't mind. So the first one is I am an avid plane spotter, and people.
Love that. Love that. I know someone else, my business partner's the same.
You need to connect us. You need to
Yeah,
connect
we'll
us
do.
because I'm sure we'll have lots of conversation. So I live near Heathrow Airport. So at the airport, they've made a special stand for geeky people like us to go there and watch them take off and land. And we've got a registration book where we tick off what model it is, what the reg number is, and we've seen all the different types and shapes or whatever. So that's something that people get really surprised. I actually collect the models. I've got so many that I've got no room to put them in. So I'm thinking,
Wow, plane
yeah.
models.
Plate models, yeah, so they're the die-cast metal
Nice.
ones. Yeah, so I'm looking for a nice sort of cabinet I can just display them all. But my 8-year-old son is very soon claiming all of them every week.
Yep.
So, yeah. And the other one is I invest in property. So,
Oh, nice.
so I like buying rundown houses. Again,
Nice.
it's my core value of helping others. And I want to provide housing for people in vulnerable situations, in vulnerable areas up north, etc. So
Oh, wow, how beautiful.
I invest in properties up in Liverpool. So yes.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. But when I tell people, they're like, "Well, really? Okay, yeah,
That's
absolutely."
amazing. That's amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
So let's talk a bit more about privacy and training. So
Yeah.
you're known for bringing privacy training to life. What was your motivation from moving away from traditional, boring, tick box, robotic training and kind of championing the in-person engaging that got us
Yes.
talking today?
Yes. So I love this topic, and this was one of the things in our privacy program that was at the top of my list and my priorities because I always felt when I'm doing a tick box compliance, which is absolutely despise that. I'll go on a site or on a module, and I'll just be answering questions, and I don't understand half of it, but I need to get it done because HQ will be like, all right, all your training's done, but you haven't actually taken anything from it. So even before I began the role, I started planning of how am I going to bring this to life. So when I delve deeper again, it's all about people. So forget the privacy element, the jargon, everything like that, the legislation itself. It's all about stakeholder management and people. And I think that's one of the skills that, fortunately, that I just have naturally, and I don't really need to work on it. So first thing I did was I thought, right, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this training out from scratch. So I created some material around GDPR, and it covers everything from incidents to DSARs, so things that would happen in a workplace. So I'd cut out all the jargony stuff, things that would happen. And what I'd do is I'd decipher the policies and take out the key takeaways and reword them into plain English so people understand, and only the ones that they actually need to know for their role. So I put a program together and then I rolled it out to the masses. And it's been nearly 2 years since I've been doing these programs, and we've had hundreds and hundreds of people going through it. The reason I wanted to do it now, going back to my core, I wanted to empower others in a meaningful and tangible way, rather than just go and do this course here, you're on an attendance register, that's it, And I wanted to make it relatable. I wanted to move away from tick box compliance because I want to build trust. I want people to talk to me, right? I don't want to regurgitate legalese, as I said. I want to talk in easy peasy plain language. And the thing for me is any relationship I have, and we were talking off air as well, I like creating the win-win formula. So that always works. So what's in it for me? What's in it for them? I'm arming them, their toolbox as I speak, with knowledge that they need. But I'm also testing myself as a trainer to see how well I know the subject, because I get challenged. And when you allow people to have that safe environment, you can back and forth, ask questions, they feel safe. I want to create that safe environment. So whenever I start off the training, I'm just like, look, I'm a human being, so are you. I make those mistakes too. I'm just more aware of them. And that's where we need to get you. And people are always like, oh, I don't know who the privacy people are. Is it the legal team? Is it the compliance team? Put a face to a name, right? Oh, this is me. Come and talk to me. I'll sit on this floor, come and speak to me if you have any issues. So I think everyone has a baseline knowledge, including the board of directors. This training started off just new starters, and then experienced teams, and then line managers, and then now it's going to go on to, senior management and the board level, because again, everybody has a baseline knowledge. They're relying on us. So I think it's creating that awareness around the business. And Jackie, you probably already know this. Data protection and privacy is a C-suite topic. It's not something that we're running away from, and I absolutely love it.
Hot topic. But I think there's some key things that you just picked up there, is that training tick box exercise doesn't actually teach anybody anything. So it increases the risk for data breaches within organisations if staff aren't trained appropriately enough. And the other thing is that training isn't a cost, it's an investment. So you're investing into the business's growth and also the professional development of that person as well. And I think these are two fundamental things that organisations actually miss, to the point of, we've got no budget, let's cut training, because training, is the first cost to go, but actually it should be the last one, because you're investing in their growth. What do you think? That is why I'd set up my business, the Leadership Through Data, to get more drive and enthusiasm into data protection, privacy and information management training, to get people to understand the concepts, break it down from, this is an article, this is the recital, this is how you read it, this is the book, and actually you want something tangible that you can say, oh, okay, well, I need to fill in this box, or I need to get a DPIA for this, because, those types of things that are actionable things that people can go and do and understand, rather than,
And and to your point there, I think when people have a lot of misconceptions about privacy, I always say to them, look, if privacy is done right, it's actually a revenue driver, because you win trust, and you win trust, you win more customers. It's as simple as that. And when and that is a massive moment where people are like, oh yeah, if I actually look at it like this is what it is. And I always feel like the misconceptions are tied to personal values, what people actually think. Privacy for me, whenever I do the advisory piece of my role, I was like, no, there's not one size that fits all. You need to give me the context and what you're trying to do here.
Yeah.
and the answer will come out, and that's what makes it really interesting, because nothing's ever the same. So, going back to having a person in a room, you can look at the body language and say, oh, okay, this person's a bit uptight, he might not want to engage, but I know I can work on it. The person's in the room with me, he's going to feed off my energy, and we're going to get them involved, because it's a lot of engagement. Death by PowerPoint, and I know I've heard it on your previous podcast, is absolutely like tick box compliance. Don't get me wrong, we do have a PowerPoint as a reference point, but I also get people to read out bits out of it, so they're involved.
Yeah,
But
and
if
I think
you're talking,
there's nothing saying you can't use PowerPoint. So there's some really good tools. There's PowerPoint,
yeah,
Prezi, some really good interactive tools. It's the standing there, talking, reading off the slides, keep it in the same tone, not thinking about the delivery.
nothing
There's a
worse.
wide range of things that, because I use PowerPoint, but I
Yes,
use images. So all of mine, I have 100 slides, and they're all the talking points when I go through. So it helps me with my memory recall. We're going off on a tangent here, but I just kind of want to pull you back on one of the things
yeah,
you had said about you wanting your organisation, the people don't know who the privacy officer is. And
yeah.
that's about you saying, I'm here, let's talk about it, and let's make it easy for you to understand. That's, I think, is the gap. We talk about personal branding, because there is elements of like the holding back, you
Mhm.
know, are we just the reactive people? Should we be more proactive, saying, I am here, this is the privacy officer, tell me what you're doing, where can I go? But because we're so bogged down with the reactive aspects of it, things just get landed on us. Does that
Yes,
make
yes,
sense? And I think
yeah, absolutely.
if we could flip it on its head and focus more on our personal branding within organizations, do you think that that would have an impact in privacy and information management?
Absolutely, I think it would, because what it is people are afraid to report things, right? They just look at it as, okay, it's legalese, I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to report something. I'm going to be honest with you, one of the great successes out of this training is not just like, having hundreds and hundreds of people go through it, but it's actually people reporting absolutely everything, which is fantastic for us as privacy pros, because we're able to stick within the timelines, understand what's going on at the very start, rather than having that reactive mode where we're just having to mop up the mess at the end. So, I think there's a massive gap, and I see this in a lot of businesses where their numbers reported are so low because, number one, they don't understand the process. Like, we have a robust data protection incident response process where I've actually created a SharePoint website, internal one, and it's called the Privacy Hub. And on there, it's got, these are the right people you need to talk to, and then it's got basic stuff that we actually cover in the training as well, if something's happened. So it's basically a resource library all in one place that they can access. And I think it's important to have that, and it's important to have that clarity. Okay, well, this is what I need to do, and these are the people I need to talk to. But I do find a lot of people in our industry, when it comes to that personal branding, sometimes feel uncomfortable about it. And I think that is the gap where you've pointed out, is once we change that. And to be honest, I wasn't big on personal branding before I came into this role. In fact, I wasn't big on personal branding up until January this year.
And it's so interesting, because there is a real shift. I know I've seen it over the last year. I've seen more interactivities on LinkedIn from our profession as well. So hopefully I'm kind of driving the way for us all. But
No, absolutely. People like you are changing the game, because at the end of the day, if we're there invisible, then that's half the battle won.
and I so believe that. And I
Yeah,
think, in terms of getting, because information is gold, and we protect information, and we just need to be up there ensuring that we get the right resources at the right time, the right training, the education, just so we can protect that gold within the organizations. This has
definitely. It's the
been
biggest asset. It's the biggest asset to any organization.
1,000%. This has been an
Yeah.
amazing podcast. Like, we have digressed from the questions that we originally agreed from, but I think it was really, really, really useful. And thank you so much. What's the one last thing you want to give to the listeners as a summary from training and all the things that we've talked about today?
Yeah, I think I'll go back to the point you made earlier. What kind of differentiates me with anybody else? And the idea is, I'm not trying to impress people. I'm trying to impress upon them and bring that out of them, because I know everybody's got it in them. It's just a mindset switch. So we talked about mindset. I think that's the foundation. So growth mindset is something you have to have. Keep an open mind. Try not to obviously speak in jargon. Be an enabler, not a blocker. I think that's key. When people, stakeholders would ask me questions, I'd be like, all right, normally you'd get, we can't do this. I'll be like, how can we do it? And demonstrate compliance and get that through. So you've got to have a balance and, simplify privacy. I mean, I work with a simple framework that I've learned with my privacy mentor. And that's the 3 C's. So courage, confidence, and clarity. I think once you've got those through, you're there. And another framework I use in the training is KFC. So what do I want people to know? How I want them to feel, and what would I like them to commit to? And I think that that captures everything. I mean, there's so much more to talk about this. We could do another 3
I think I
episodes.
might have to invite you back for another podcast, because I do try and keep them short and
Just scratch
sweet.
the surface. I'm so into this. I'm so immersed into the training, honestly. And there's so many things that I could share that would really help people.
It's been such a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much. How can people reach out to you?
So I keep things simple, and as you know, Jackie, one place, LinkedIn, Aakash, Suri. I guess you'll pop that in the show notes or something.
I will do, yeah.
Yep. So, Aakash, Suri, reach out to me on LinkedIn, and, I'll do my best to come back to you, and I'll go back to every single message.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Aakash. See you soon.
See you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Journals of the Information Entrepreneur with me, Jacqueline Stockwell. I hope you found this episode inspiring and helpful and have some takeaway tips that can be useful to you. If you liked this episode, please like, review and share it with your friends. Your support helps us reach more information leaders to stay inspired and listen to great content. Want to test out your strengths and weaknesses and measure it against our Empower framework? Please complete the scorecard. It's a great way to improve and evaluate your skills. You can find the scorecard at the end of the description of this podcast. Stay tuned for a new podcast every Thursday, and remember to be bold, be brave and be beautiful.